Hi guys, Howard here, taking a look at Moby Dick from Led Zeppelin from their second album, Led Zeppelin 2. And this is one of their coolest jams. You know, it's just got a great groove and a great pocket to it. It's one of my favorites. I have a few, of course, but it's definitely one of my favorites. So I'm in a drop D tuning, so you want to make sure that your sixth string is down a whole step to D. And the rest of the strings are in standard tuning, okay? So I'm going to do it in two parts. We'll take a look at the main riff, the riffs that make up the song itself, and then we'll take a look at those lead breaks, okay? So first off, we'll put the tab up on the screen and play it nice and slow. It's pretty easy to see what I'm playing and then what the tab is telling you. So I won't do too much verbal explanation, but I'll do a little bit, okay? So anyway. So let me do that again, nice and slow. So that's the riff. You play it 4 times. It's basically a 12-bar blues shot from a cannon, but it's basically a 12-bar blues. So that would be what would be played over the 1 chord, the D chord. And then we move to what would be the 4 chord, the G chord, and the riff is played like so. And you play it twice, of course, again, just like a 12-bar blues. So let me explain that one a little bit, even though you can see it on the tab. You can see that there's a 3-note pull-off. Right, so we have the 5th fret on the 6th string, skip a string. So you want to make sure that you've got your fingers in line so that you can just, you don't want to sort of go like that. You want to have the fingers down and in place so that you get a nice 3-way pull-off. And then we have the 1st fret to the 3rd fret on the A string. Hopefully you can see that okay. You play that twice, and you can see that I kind of slid back to the riff because you're traveling about 6 frets right there. Then it's back to the original riff, twice of course. And then we go to what would be the 5 chord, which would be basically an A in this case. And it's similar to the second riff that we played. We're on the 7th fret on the 6th string. Skip a string. That's a pull off there again. To 7 on the A string. And I love this riff. It's just so cool sounding. So let me do that again, nice and slow. Then we're going to slide from 3 to 5 on the D string. And you'll probably want to do that with alternate strokes once you get it up to speed. Right? Open D string instead of the 5th fret. And this is kind of interesting because if you watch Zeppelin in '69 at, I think it's the Royal Albert Hall, you can see how Jimmy plays this. I used to play it, but he actually plays it like this, which of course sounds cooler, but it's really interesting that he's pulling with his first finger down toward his feet. So that sounds pretty nice. So we have Right? And then it's right back to the original riff. So that a riff, once again, up to speed is. And then it's on to the lead breaks, so let's get into those. So Jimmy plays 4 different lead breaks, all with a slightly different flavor, or a very different flavor if you want to look at it like that. So the first lead break is played like so. So let's slow that way down with the tab on the screen. Again, really slow. Then we've got a full step bend once again. Release the bend, pull off to the 10th fret. 12 on the D string, and then you kind of backtrack to the G string. And then we have with those 2 double stops at the end. It's such a great lead break, right? That's the first lead break. Now the second lick is played like so. It's sort of a very strained, bendy kind of thing out the gate, and then a reverse sweep, so it can actually be a little bit tricky to play. So I'll show you. It's kind of weird to play slow, but anyway, that's a full step bend, and I'm using my second finger but supporting it with my first finger. So you want to make sure you get a full step bend there, or as best as you can. And then you grab the E string also at the 13th fret with your next finger, your ring finger, and you play this. So the first time, you're holding the bend, of course, the whole time, but the first time, you're playing that E string 3 times, then the second time 2 times. And then you grab that E string at the 13th fret and you give it a full step bend. And then you want to line your fingers up like this, 10, 10, 12, right across the first 3 strings. And you do an upward sweep with your pick. Like so. So when you put the lick together at speed, it actually sounds like this. Pretty cool indeed, all right? And then we have this one, which is a string of pull-offs, okay? And it's interesting because he doesn't really keep it in key per se. He just does the same lick right across the strings. And again, it's a 3-note pull-off. So we start with the first E string, and we're just doing a pull-off from 3 to 1 to the open string. So it's like what we were doing with the main riff earlier. You want to make sure your fingers are in place, and he moves right across the strings. Just like that. It's the same on each string, and he goes down the first 4 strings, and then he goes all the way to the 5th string. He does the lick again and goes all the way to the 5th string, and he just kind of rushes it in there. Like so, right? Now the 4th and final lick, at least in my mind, is the most difficult of all of them to play. It's basically a rockabilly style or rockabilly flavored riff, and I'll play it nice and slow for you, but it can be pretty tricky. All right, so let's go through that one nice and slow. I know you can see the tab up on the screen, but it's a tricky one for sure. So here we go. And even slower. That's just a tricky sucker to play. So there you go, all 4 lead breaks from Moby Dick, and then of course they return to the main riffs, but they break them up much like they did for the lead breaks, so that Bonham can do the drum fills. So you play the first riff, and then you end it with the open 6th string. And then we move to the second riff, and we end it with the 5th fret on the 6th string. And then we play the full 3rd riff. So as you can see, we've got the full 4-string bar chords at the end. We've got a D, C, A. Just kidding. Anyway, there you go with Moby Dick from Led Zeppelin, complete with Jimmy's great lead breaks. And as a note, he doubled each of these lead breaks, so you're actually hearing 2 guitars play each break at the same time. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. All the best to everyone as always, and we'll see you guys real soon.